Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Travis, and today I'm going to be mounting up a brake and gas pedal assembly for the 650 horsepower REO Speedwagon, mounting up a booster and master cylinder assembly to the firewall, running wiring for turn signals, stoplights, and headlights, and my good friend Jerry stops by to help me map out, measure, and shorten the width of the fenders to make the truck look more proportional, and more in this video. And we have a lot of work to do before this thing is actually drivable. Have the REO on the Cummins frame, engine and trans are built. Right now I'm working on hooking up the brake and the gas pedal. So this is just mock-up. So I'll be honest, I'm just fitting things as I go along and trying things and seeing what works. And this is a factory hole that was in the firewall of this truck. It had an air fitting that I took out. And there's only so many places I can put this brake booster. This is the booster off of the second gen Cummins I took apart. So I just put this rod through this hole, you know, just to mock it up, you know, just to see. And it seems like if I take this piece off, may have had something to do with the ABS, I don't know. It may fit here because right to the right of this bracket is the steering column. Can't mount it all the way over here because you'd be hitting the hood, so it may have to go right here. And if you come inside the cab, you can see my wiring mess. But this is where the rod comes out. So if we put our brake pedal and gas pedal assembly right here, I think we'll have room for it. But I measured from the firewall to the dash, and it's 10.5 inches. So our bracket can't be longer than that. This is the bracket out of the 95 Cummins I took apart that I'm trying to reuse so that I don't have to go and do a bunch of custom stuff and buy a $100 universal brake pedal from Jegs and a $50, $60 universal gas pedal from Jegs or Speedway. If I can reuse this, then I'd be happy. But if you look at this, this is like 15 inches and some change. So I figure if I cut it to that arch right there, we may be able to use it. This is just excess bracketry. So if we slice it right here and we cut this off, this is for something else that we're not using from the factory. So let's cut this off, see if we can fit it up in there and see if it'll work. Fits the hole perfect because there's a bracket strap for the steering column that goes from the dash to the firewall that I don't want to cut. So we'll see if we can put that booster right here. It's going to clear the intake horn and the injection pump, but the lip of the booster is not going to clear the bleeder on the fuel filter housing. So once these studs are pushed into the firewall, this will clear the intake horn and it'll clear the injection pump. The booster is not going to clear this bleeder screw. It's 1 3/8 inches. Booster will come to here and it would clear that. Well, I believe the brakes and the throttle are mounted up and working. Got the nuts on the studs and they're tight. So now we have proper brake pedal travel. I had to lengthen the throttle cable because the factory one was not long enough, and I used some of my extra boost reference line from my AFC Live that I cut off for my wire guide, and then I used a wire ferrule to crimp this together. So now we get full travel out of the throttle. And it's also operating the TV cable for the transmission. So it's all working as it should. We'll have to go through and actually hook these brake lines up to the truck when we get the chance. Some guys, for weight reduction, when they're really trying to race hardcore, they'll get rid of the booster because it's weight. You know, I'm not that crazy. I mean, this is not a bracket truck. This is not a 9-second truck. Whatever. I want power brakes. It'll be nice to have power brakes. We'll be able to hook the vacuum hose from the vacuum pump up to the one-way valve and get it working. I kept the proportioning valve so that we'll have equal pressure to the front and to the back. We'll actually finish the brakes up later because I still am anticipating shortening the frame, and when we shorten the frame we're going to have to change the brake lines and shorten them up and yada yada yada. But real quick, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Delete Me. Did you know that data brokers can buy and sell your personal information to anyone? I've had my own personal social media accounts taken from me, specifically my old TikTok account. This leaves you vulnerable to being attacked online for your political views, for other opinions you may have, for your occupation. They can sell your family's data as well. And the beauty of Delete Me is that it can keep your information private and can remove it from being bought by data brokers. That's why I use Delete Me to keep my information private. When you start a Delete Me account, they'll do a report and show you how many websites your data has been sold to and even how many websites they've removed your data from. They'll even tell you what is the most exposed online, like your phone number being out there and your address being out there, and so on and so forth. And right now you can get 20% off of Delete Me's consumer plans. I recommend a family plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/Theetravisb20 and use my code Theetravisb20. That's joindeleteme.com/Theetravisb20, code Theetravisb20. So thank you, Delete Me, for sponsoring today's video. To get your data removed, go to the link in the description of this video to get 20% off. Keep your data off the internet. Let's get back to working on the Rio. Now that the brake and the gas pedal are mounted up, we can move on to something else, and we can do a little bit of wiring. So I got this from Speedway. This is just a universal signal switch. They're pretty good. I've used a couple of them before, and I was actually able to use the original wire hold down from the column, so it's pretty cool. So we have our loom here. I have to look at the wiring diagram that came with the box. I think this is power, ground. One of them is left turn, right turn, tail light, all that stuff. I used a pretty similar unit in my 1950 GMC. This is the first truck I ever had. The truck Dad and I restored together. We have, I think we ordered, I mean, they may have looked different back then, but it's literally the same exact thing. And this is probably a 14-year-old unit now. And you can even see the plastic is fading and the signal indicator is gone. The only thing, this still works, the only thing is this light quit working and I could never figure out how to fix it, but it still works. So I got a universal brake switch from O'Reilly's, and this should work. It's kind of out in the middle of the air though, but not really sure how to reposition that now. Here's the original dimmer switch underneath the cab. I'm going to take these off and test this out, see if it's working, because I'm going to reuse it. These are pretty tough old units, so. Those original screws were not coming out, so I had to cut them, drill them, tap them, put new screws in. So we're going to see if this thing works now. So this is labeled BAT. This is battery power, and ground, power. Yeah, there we go. If I click it, it should switch to the other one. Now it's switched to this one. Off, on. dims, brights. Works perfectly. Now that I know I have my dimmer switch working correctly, we have our universal brake switch up in the firewall there. Now I can actually start trying to wire some of this up. I can use one 3-prong flasher for my signals and my emergency. This one has an emergency option. Some don't have an emergency flasher dealio, but this one does. But we can use one flasher for both emergency and for signal. Orange goes to signal lamp left rear, brown goes to signal right, yellow goes to left front, and then so on and so forth. I'm starting by doing the in-cab portion of the turn signal wiring up the flasher and figuring out where the wires go. So I'm pulling a little trick with the wiring here. This is actually the original wire loom that was on the 2nd gen Dodge, but it had some pigtails on it. These. We're not going to obviously use these. This was like way down on the frame, so what I did was I pulled it through the frame. I cut all the plastic clips that went down the frame and I pulled it through the frame so that I could have some length here, so that I didn't have to use all my own junk wiring. We could just use all the wiring that goes down the frame from the factory 2nd gen, and we can splice it and put it on our junction block here for all of our signals and whatnot. But right now, Jerry came over. You guys remember Jerry was in the last episode or two that we did on this Ario? He was helping us mount the cab because Jerry does a lot of customization, fabrication, rat rod stuff. So this is right up his alley. He's super stoked about this build. He's been begging somebody to. You've been begging somebody to do a Cummins swap rat rod for a long time, huh?
Yeah, I think your dad. That would be Rick.
You begged my dad to do it?
I've been trying to get Rick to use one of those motors in his garage.
Oh, really?
For years.
He wouldn't do it. No, my dad.
He's not. He wants it to be where the Cummins should be.
Yeah. So I was the one to bite the bullet, and Jerry's stoked, I'm stoked. Even my dad's stoked. We're all excited about this. But
this is going to be cool.
This is going to be so sweet. Everybody's loving how this thing's turning out. So while I got Jerry here, I was trying to figure a few things. One was this core support situation. So the way that it's set up from Dodge, this was flipped around on the front of the truck. Both of the outlets were facing the engine. But now that we put it this way, I had it flipped so that the outlets are pointing forward so that I can put my intercooler piping and my radiator hoses straight to the front. But the problem is now all the hot air from the radiator is going to be going directly over the intercooler, pretty much negating the idea of an intercooler. So what Jerry suggested was, can I flip this around and then take the intercooler bolts off and flip the intercooler around again? Like, would it fit backwards and forwards? Yeah.
I think that's all you need to do.
There. So lift it up out of those knobs.
It's hitting right here. You have to pull the
Radiator.
Is it just 2 bolts on there?
It's
Same thing?
Same thing.
That's a nice intercooler.
Yeah, the one from
cast. Factory stuff, huh?
It's pretty stout. I mean, this is a good, nice big one. It should just come, like, pull forward a little, and then it should just come up. Yeah, they're not hard to take out.
You might have to take this off so it don't hit the radiator. These 2 brackets right here. So you need to turn this around to do what we're trying to do. I don't know what we did before impacts. Have you got a battery ratchet yet?
Yeah, it gave out on me.
It did? Because you were using it too much.
I was cranking on it I wasn't even doing anything, and the button just quit working. Like, it has a full battery and everything. It just went dead.
Huh.
So let's flip this thing around.
Have you bought into the duct tape drags yet?
Yeah.
Do you have to get a special vendor
You just have to
pass
like,
or something?
there's different prices for whatever you're gonna be doing.
Kind of a crooked air gap.
Look at that.
What are you doing? There's a Instagram guy that I follow where he's got his 2 daughters. I don't know if you've seen it.
Dude, Teach Girls Real Stuff.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
They're in there with the impacts, and they're putting brakes together and
I love that
differentials, and they high-fiving, and they do it. I mean, I know he's watching to make sure it's done right, but they're building a truck.
They are.
And it's super cool. I mean, the girls are, yeah.
I watch
That's
that
what
guy.
you're gonna do, huh? Is that what you're gonna do?
So something I wanted to ask you about that I got a lot of heat for in the last video was my steering. So I hooked up my steering. This is the U-joint from the truck.
Right.
I cut the shaft off of the original truck and I shortened the shaft on this and I welded it on there.
Right.
Okay. There's the weld.
Yeah.
But everybody said that that's unsafe, that I should redo it. I kept the original U-joint that I cut off. All right. Look at the original welds. There's only a weld on one side and the other, not even in the middle section.
Yeah, I see that.
Is what
I don't have a problem welding any of that, but I think if I was you, I would pull it off and I would put more. See where this edge is right here?
Yeah.
On this piece? If that was welded in, I'd run another pass there, another pass in the middle, one on the bottom. I would fill this all the way up to here.
Okay.
So there's not a flat spot there. If you can do that, you either take it off or
You mean like just run another pass? Like another few passes?
Fill that up real nice. And there's no reason why that won't work.
Okay.
It's actually what you did is a fillet weld, not a butt weld, because you have 2 surfaces. And a fillet weld usually is filled from the widest. So I would do a couple more welds in there and fill that up.
Okay.
And I don't see any reason why it won't work.
That was my opinion.
You just got to be careful when you're doing that you don't overheat the U-joint and boil all the grease out of it. If we go off of the face of this and we measure, we're going to want to cut. We're going to want to leave probably to there 8 3/4. How far in from here would you think? 2 inches?
I don't know where I want it. I was going to cut it and then play with it and then see where it looked the best.
6 1/2 is what we need to take out. What are the chances of finding that?
0%.
Keep it together for a pattern. Could cut it out of a new piece of rubber. Yeah.
Must have glued it.
Mother Nature Loctite.
That's 70 years of sitting on there.
That's how you do it. Get your wheel of death and get rid of this bolt, and I would just trim up this raggedy stuff. Don't go too close to there. Get rid of that bolt and just get rid of all that. So when we cover over it, it's cleaned off.
Much better, much better. I think it looks.
Still needs to go in, right?
What about when you turn the wheel? It may be all right.
Well, the tire comes out of the fender well right there.
Yeah, don't you think this looks better with it?
Oh, heck yeah. That hood is so cool. Since we cut the same exact amount off, if we like it where it's at right in there, we need to make a mark so that the fender will look like it's stock, you know. If we go in or out, it might change the dynamic of the way it looks, you know. That looks so good. Hey, pull it your way. Look at this right here. This space should be the same. You're going in.
Well,
but this is what we're going to line. We're going to line up on this edge, just like that. It looks good. It looks right.
now that we sort of have the template down for the driver's side, the passenger side can go a lot quicker. We measure out on the fender where we want to make our cut. We lay our line of tape down, use the wheel of death, cut the fender off and the excess, and then mount the fender right back on. So Jerry headed on home now, and the fenders are not bolted on or welded on permanently, but I appreciate his help. He helped make that go faster than I could have done it for sure. Jerry's a good guy. I'm sure we'll be seeing him again. He's really digging this build. He wants to help. But I think that shortening these fenders was the answer because they're just way, way, way too wide. And I also want to address the core support radiator intercooler issue we were trying to mock up yesterday. I didn't talk about a solution to that. We were busy doing this. So if I keep the intercooler, there's no room for it up here. I mean, that's just, there's no option for a radiator or an intercooler up here. It's just a no-go. It's going to have to be back there. Can't put the intercooler in the cab. It's got to go back there. So if that's the case, you're running all kinds of intercooler piping from the turbo down through the frame to the back, and then you're running it from the back to the front. You have steering up here, you have wires up here, you have steering column up here, you have all sorts of issues. And that pipe is 3 inches. It's big. You have to have a lot of clearance. And then you have to have the air making all these turns, going from the back to the front, and the intake horn doesn't point back. It points forward. So you're going to have to U it up. There's all kinds of stuff involved with that, a lot of work involved. Not that I'm afraid of work, but it's just time, work, energy, money, all boots. You're going to have to order like 10 boots. I called Power Driven Diesel, the people who I got all the parts from for the engine, transmission, and I've been calling them throughout this build. There's a guy, Tim, that works there. He's been really helpful throughout this whole thing, knowledgeable dude. I asked him straight up. I said, look, if I don't run an intercooler, how much power am I really losing? And he said, well, you can still make the same amount of power, but you can't tow heavy and long distances without an intercooler because your EGTs, exhaust gas temps, are going to just go crazy. You can't control them without an intercooler. So fair enough. I'm not going to be towing with this anyway. This is more of a race, go fast, burnout type of deal. This is not my daily. It's going to have Lexan windows, no air conditioning, no nothing, no radio. And he said you can drag race it, but you can't like rip it down the track over and over and over again because what you call heat soak. So the intercooler is what absorbs the heat and passes it to the ambient to keep the air cool, which keeps the engine cool and the exhaust temps cool. If you don't run an intercooler, you can run the engine hard for a short period of time, but the engine now absorbs all that heat. So you can rip it down the drag strip, but you have to wait like 30 or 45 minutes before you can do it again, like safely, while controlling your exhaust gas temps, which is fine. I doubt I'm gonna be going down the track, going right back around, going down, going back around. I mean, you have to wait probably an hour or two before you can rip it again, so that's fine. So I think we're gonna run no intercooler. So at the moment I wanna keep on with wiring. So remember, I pulled these wires up through the frame a little bit. They already go to the back. I'm trying to figure out which wires I wanna go to where. So right now I have the battery hooked up to my little test leads. I got it hooked up here, and I'm matching it up to the wire in the back. So this is the same color wire that I have hooked to power in the front. I want to make sure that it's getting continuity to the back, so I know where I'm going with it. So here we go, that's the wire. I'm going to use this as my right turn signal wire, because these batch of wires, they went to the other side of the frame. So this is what I'm going to use for all the right-hand sided stuff. So I figured you didn't need to watch me wire for hours, it's pretty boring, but I got all the wires from the turn signal switch hooked up. I got this 7-pin terminal block, which Harbor Freight sells a pack of 2 of these for $8. These are very convenient, they make things look good. They're going to the terminal block, they come out, then I have this wire wrapped around. I gotta clean it up a little bit, but it goes to the terminal block on the other side, so when we're ready, we can wire up our headlights and our signals. I have new signals coming. The old Fender signals were bad, so I got a couple of new ones coming. Bam, you got your new front end. I like it. This got hit, so I'm gonna have to spend some time and actually beat that out, because I did find the original headlight holder, and then this is the ring. Oh look, we have a kitty. He's outside today. He's usually an inside cat, but Emily is allowing him to be outside. I told her, I said, he likes outside. Kitties like outside. She said, no, he's an inside cat, but there he is living his best life. So what I'm working on now is the rear end. What I would like to get done today is not get the rear end welded on, but I cleaned up these perches right here. I'm gonna reuse them. And then Jerry brought up a good idea, is that you don't have to weld them, but you can still put the U-bolts on and bolt the rear end loosely to the leaves. That way you can still shimmy it side to side, and you can shimmy it up or down, because we're going to have to get the angle of this yoke right. There's an angle you have to set it at. We're going to have to figure that out. And I also had to go way across town and have a new U-bolt made, because I found 3 out of the 4. I could not find the 4th one, so I had to have the 4th one made. Differential is on, the U-bolts are on and tight for now. Again, it's just mock-up. I wanted to jack it up just so I could rotate the tires, see if everything was free, because I still don't know anything about this rear end. Somebody had obviously modified it because they'd moved the spring perches in for some other application. They changed the spring perches entirely because I had to drill those holes out because they didn't fit the pegs on these leaf springs. So I don't know what they did there, but it is a limited slip, because if you notice, if I rotate this tire forward, that one goes forward. If I rotate this back, the other one goes back. If it was a non-limited slip, if I rotated this one backwards, that would go the opposite way. So that's exactly what I wanted, is a limited slip. I usually don't pull the diff covers off of things. I'll change the fluid and call it good, but we're going to be putting some serious power to this thing. And after all, I did pull this out of someone's backyard. So I just want to look at the gears, make sure everything's good, nothing's broken, teeth are missing. So far, it looks good under here. I don't see any cracked teeth. I don't see anything at the bottom, any kind of chunks or anything. I mean, there's a little bit of shavings on the magnet here, but I think a little bit of that is probably normal. It's not excessive. So, yeah, I just wanted to look at this, and you can see in there the pinion gear. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think we're good. Now that we did our little inspection, we can put the cover back on. So I got to get my little green 3M gasket wheel, get all that old gasket material off of the differential and the cover, put like half a tube of black silicone on the cover and shove it back on there and put all the bolts on, tighten it up, and it should be good to go. I think the differential is good for now. And another thing that I need to do is finish getting this body mounted. I gotta cut some holes with the plasma cutter so these body mounts from the original 2nd gen will fit through there. We'll bolt them in. You can do a couple of safety things. One thing is a battery hold down. You want it anyway, but you can't race unless you have the battery held down, not with bungee cords. So let's put a hold down on this battery. 7 inches. All right, our battery is firmly held down. That's one safety thing checked off the list. Another thing I need to address for a multitude of reasons is the glass. So I'm gonna replace these with Lexan because one, a lot of the glass is already busted out. Driver window, passenger window is broken, and there is a hole in the windshield. You can drive with broken or not even have side glass, but you cannot drive even legally on the street, just regular driving with a busted windshield. You can get pulled over by a cop for that. So we have to do the windshield and the side glass anyway. And why would I put glass back in it? Because glass is heavy, it's sand. Basically, you're just hauling around sand. And plus, since we're kind of using this for racing, I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to cut in some Lexan and put it in there. If something does happen, it's not going to shatter and break on me. It's lighter than glass, and plus this will actually be easier to install anyway than trying to redo this original glass and, you know, get somebody to make you a template and get the rubber. I don't even know where you would buy the rubber for this. So plastic is our answer. And these sheets were expensive. These are like $99 a sheet. If you want to help support the build a little bit, pick yourself up a t-shirt from Theetravisb.com. We got merch available, 3 different designs. When I started out with the cutting wheel, I cut out a little test square here to see how deep the window actually went into the rubber so that I know how far to cut around the entire perimeter. And then it was just going to town with that death wheel. Got one out. This one's not wanting to come out, but the other one did come out complete. So if I have to, I can break this one to get it out and just use the other one as a template and mirror it for both. Because I don't want to break this, and I don't really know how else you're going to get that 68-year-old glass out of there without breaking it at this point. It says AWG Supra Test Sheet right there. It says 5 of 57. May of 1957 this glass was made. Last glass that needs to be cut out is the back window. Even though it's not broke, while we're in here doing them, we might as well do them all, you know what I mean? Between all the smoke and the light coming in from the opposite side, it was dang near impossible to see what I was cutting, so it took me a little bit longer, but I eventually got it knocked out. There it goes. There it is. Now to get the Lexan sheets out and set them on the biggest flat surface I have, which is my concrete floor. Lay the old glass out as templates, use my Sharpie and just mark them out and, you know, cut them with the wheel. So far, it's looking like they're gonna fit pretty friggin' sweet, actually. I'm really liking how the windshield is matching up. I like how the wing windows are matching up. I like the back window, I like the other side. The only thing that I don't have a complete replica of is the side glass. This is the most complete piece I have. So, luckily, I have the curvature. I have the curvature, I have how far up it goes, and I have bottom. I just need total length. So all I have to do is measure from the inside of this cavity to the inside of this channel, and however wide that is, that's just where we'll end it on our mock-up. So if you go from the inside of that channel (17 3/4) ought to get us in the channel. So I trimmed everything to fit. There was just a little bit here and a little bit there, and it fits perfectly, actually. And I wanted to do this kind of a certain way, so obviously I cut the lip on this side, pushed the glass out, so there's still a lip of rubber, and it's hard as a brick now, on the other side, so I can set this in without it just going through into the cab. So it sits around the opposite lip all the way around, and I wanted to do it this way because maybe there's a certain reason why racers do this, but they'll take everything out, rubber glass and all, they'll put the Lexan over and they'll put screws all around to hold it in. Maybe that's for like the wind, you know, the wind can go so hard it can bend this and push it in the cab maybe, I don't know. But me personally, I didn't want the look of those screws just all the way around, and without the rubber it looks kind of naked. So actually, if we glue this in with some of this and just push it in, it should look really good, actually. I mean, other than being really clean, you know, it should look factory almost. So yeah, I'm happy with the fitment. Let me get a blowgun. Ooh-wee, don't that look good? It's all splooged out. It's like construction adhesive, so when it dries, it should be pretty stout. Okay, windshields are in. Okay, wing windows are officially in. Looking good. I think we're looking really good on the windows. The windshield is in, the wing windows are in. I put the rear Lexan in, and I even took the cover off. Got that window mechanism working right on both sides. Slip these in. So now you have up and down. So all the Lexan windows are in. We shed a lot of weight. That glass is heavy. So this can all sit over the weekend and dry and cure and get nice and hard. So now we have windows. I think the only thing I'm going to do to change anything is put one of those old chrome strips right here. They used to have them like for my GMC. It's a chrome strip and it has studs on it. And you can put nuts on the other side. And I want to put one on this because one, it looks kind of naked without it, and two, the window is supported everywhere, like right here, you know, it's supported. But if you go to the middle, see how it flexes a lot? I think something rigid should be there, and one of those old strips, it'll look natural, it'll look good, and it'll hold the middle of those windows from shifting and flexing around. Also, I made a mistake, and I had to recut one of these pieces because when I put the first one in, I tried to put my finger around it to kind of spread the adhesive a little bit, and I got some on the center of the window, and I was like, oh gosh, how do I clean that? I looked online on how to clean it because it wasn't cured yet. I was like, it's going to be harder to clean if it's cured. They said use like mineral spirits or acetone to get it off. I was like, sweet. So I rubbed acetone on it and it just fogged up the window. I guess that acetone is such a harsh chemical that it's not, since it's not glass, it's plastic, it just permanently fogged up the window wherever I rubbed it. So I had to pull it out real quick. Good thing I had another panel, you know, I had some extra, and I cut another one out. Right here, that won't come out. As I was rubbing the acetone on it, it just kept making it worse. Starting to harden up. I'm happy with that. Clean all this up when I'm done. So we're gonna take a little escapade from working on that to working on this pole sign. You guys know by now I'm really into gas and oil. It just comes with the territory of liking cars. I love signs, I love big signs. I love my Amlico pole sign, gas pumps, other various signs. And I got this pole, and a few episodes ago, I tried to put it together. You guys have seen this before if you watch the channel, but I couldn't do it at the time because when I went to put the sign in, the sign fell through the hole, and I was like mad for a second. I was like, did I get the wrong sign? You know, did I spend money and have that thing shipped and I didn't even get the right size sign? What a rookie mistake. Well, actually it turns out the ring is bent because when they were pulling it out of the station, let's say back in the day or whatever, they yanked on the top of the pole so hard they bent it out of shape. You can see right here, see how it goes like that and whatever, and you can actually see right here if you look close enough how it curves up. It's supposed to just be kind of flat. So what I'm trying to do today, I've been putting this off because I don't know how much effort this is going to take. I'm trying to get it back in shape. It's 53.5 inches. 60. And this thing is pulled up 6 solid inches. That's a lot. Now we're almost at 58, so it's coming down. $56.5. 53.5, baby. When I release the tension, how much spring does it have? You know, like if I release that, how much further up is it going to go? Okay. See, now we're at 56. It's better than where it was originally, but what we're probably going to have to do is take it down further than what it should be, and when you release it, it'll go into shape. You know what I mean? It'll spring back if you overdo it. Right now we're at 53.5, which is the correct measurement. So let's overburden it. $52.5. Let's see what happens when we release it. $53.5, baby. Oops. We almost have it. Beforehand, the sign wouldn't even sit in the frame. It just fell through the floor. That's how wide it was. So now the sign will sit in there, which is good. But we have another fitment issue. We have this and this, which looks good. But this will sit down in there. But it won't sit in on this side. It's like the sides are too narrow. So I'm trying to think about how I can pull it to pooch this out. All right, I got it hooked over sort of to the side, and maybe this will help us, maybe it won't. I don't know. Okay. It is wider. Not quite. No. No. That didn't help us. No way. Oh, we almost have it, guys. It's in. Yes. By the hair of our chinny chin chin. It barely fits, but it's in. It's in, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Whee! That one put up a fight, huh? So I already have all the hardware ready. I cut all these out of some angle iron back when I thought I was going to put this together. Now we can actually finish the job. That's the last clip, boys and girls. She is done. Whew. I'm happy with what I got done on the Rio this week. This project is moving right along, and if I keep hitting it hard, it'll definitely be ready for the duct tape drags. I have a shifter coming in the mail. I still have to look for some racing seats and some harnesses, and I need a bed. I really need a friggin' bed for this thing. That's like my hyper focus right now, is finding a bed. But next week I think I'm going to put a video out on something else. We've been working on this for like 3 weeks straight now. I got a couple of things out there that I could do videos on, and Dad hasn't been in the videos last week or this week because he's been gone for the last few weeks doing some family stuff, so that's why he hasn't been in the videos. He'll be here next week. He's coming back, so he should be in the next video. I haven't worked on some of the stuff out there specifically because I know he's going to want to be here for it. Next week we'll switch it up from the Rio. Like always, guys, I really do appreciate you guys watching, your likes, your views, your comments, subscribes. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. All the views help us to keep doing what we're doing, and all of you who've been buying t-shirts, that also has been helping, you know, fund these builds and stuff. We are out of the large and the Cummins dependable diesel, but we have all the other sizes. So if you have not placed an order yet for a cool shirt, make sure you do that. So thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.